Hello guys, in this video I want to talk about the least common multiple, or sometimes called the lowest common multiple. Now let's start with this example. Find the least common multiple of 4 and 7. 4 and 7. So to find the least common multiple, remember a multiple, when you hear of the word multiple, you're thinking of multiplication, right? So a multiple or multiples of a number means that you are multiplying the number by a number of times. So if you are told to find the multiples of 7 and 4, for multiples of 7, you're starting from 7 times 1, which is 7, 7 times 2, which is 14, 7 times 3, which is 21, 7 times 4 is 28, 7 times 5 is 35, 7 times 6 is 42, 7 times 7 is 49, 7 times 8 is 56, and then it keeps going like that. So here you would have to remember or know your multiplication table. Now, what about the multiples of 4? You've got 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40, and then it keeps going like that. So I've got multiples of 7, I've got multiples of 4. But the problem says find the least or the lowest common multiple. So common means it has to be a multiple of 7, and at the same time, it has to be a multiple of 4. But it should be the least or the lowest common multiple. So because we are dealing with the lowest, you're going to start from the least numbers or the smallest numbers. So let's start with 7. Will 7 be common between the multiples of 4 and 7? Nope. 14? Nope. 8? Nope. 21? No. 12? No. 28? Yes. 28? Yes. Is that the least common? Yes, it is the least common multiple of 4 and 7. Least common multiple of 4 and 7. Now, if you think about this, you could also have decided to, I'm just going to erase the multiples of 4. And then, if you remember your multiplications or your multiples of 4, you're going to start. Is 7 a multiple of 4? Nope. Is 14 a multiple of 4? Nope. Is 21 a multiple of 4? Nope. Is 28 a multiple of 4? Yes. So it's always faster if you would only use the larger number or the largest number if the numbers you're looking at are more than 2. So use the larger or the largest number. Here the larger number is 7. So I only write the multiples of 7 down. And then I look at them one after the other to know if there are multiples of the other number, which in this case it is 7. So let's try the LCM of 2, 2, 3, and 5. 2, 3, and 5. Now 5 is the largest number, so I'll write out the multiples of 5 first. So 5 times 2 is 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and then it keeps going like that. Dots, dots, dots. Now, if you want to, you could go to 3, write the multiples of 3, write the multiples of 2 down. But I said in the earlier example that you could only use the largest one or the larger one. So I'm going to keep just the multiples of 5 and then ask myself, will 2 go into 5? No. Because 2 will not go into 5, will 5 be a multiple of 2? No, right? Just because 5 is not a multiple of 2, it doesn't work for 2, then it's even if it works for 3, it doesn't matter, right? Because it has to be common. All right, let's go to 10. Is 10 a multiple of 2? Yes. Is 10 a multiple of 3? No, so it doesn't work. 15. Is 15 a multiple of 2? Nope, it doesn't work. 20. Is 20 a multiple of 2? Yes. Is 20 a multiple of 3? No, so it doesn't work. 25. Is 25 a multiple of 2? Nope. What about 30? Is 30 a multiple of 2? Yes. 2 times 15 is 30. Is 30 a multiple of 3? Yes. Oh, yes. So my LCM is 30. My LCM is 30. Now, sometimes, well, most of the time, you're going to have two numbers, just two numbers. So you're finding the LCM of two numbers. But also a few times you could have more than two, like we just did, three numbers. But always when you have fractions like these, you have to look at the denominators, that is 2, 3, and 5, and then find the LCM of these three numbers. Now, sometimes this is called the LCD, the least common denominator. Now, it's got this name because these three numbers are denominators, but it's just finding the least common multiple. So it's the same thing, only that when you're dealing with a fraction, these are all denominators. And we just found that number to be 30. The least common denominator or the least common multiple is 30. Okay, all right. Another one. Find the least common denominator or the least common multiple of 6 and 8. So I'm going to start with a larger one. 8 times 1 is 8, times 2 is 16, 24, 32, 40, and then it keeps going like that. If you want to, you do the same for 6, but you don't have to. You could just start comparing. Is 8 a multiple of 6? Nope. 16 a multiple of 6? Nope. 24 a multiple of 6? Oh, yes. So 24 becomes the least common multiple. So if I had a fractions like this, 5 over 6 minus 3 over 8, then the least common denominator is going to be 24. It's going to be 24. All right. The last example is find the least common multiple of 6 and 7. So I'll start with 7, 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, and then it keeps going like that. Now for 6, again, you don't have to write it out, but if you want to, you can. 6, 42, 48, then it keeps going like that. So 7, nope. 6, nope. 14, nope. 21, nope. 28, nope. Nope. 42. Oh, I've got 42 here too. Well, wait a minute. 6 times 7 is 42. So sometimes the LCM, it's a multiplication of the two numbers like this. If you look at 3 and 5, if you check, the LCM is 15. 6 and 7, the LCM is 42. But if you remember for the previous example, the recent one we did, 6 and 8, we got 24. But 6 times 8 is 48. So it doesn't always work that way, but sometimes it does. That the multiplication of the two numbers would give you the LCM. Or if you're looking at fractions, it is the LCD. So thank you. I'll see you in another video. Bye.